So you guys know that I fell in love with the KATSU knives. The first time Jared sent me one, I actually bought one. Jared sent me the ZK01, the ZDP189 Rockstead Killer. I bought one of the other versions of that knife. Well, KATSU has sent me their newest version of the ZDP189 Rockstead Killer, and it is amazing. And I also, stay tuned to the end, have a big announcement about something that's going on with KATSU and myself. All right, guys, this is the ZK04. This thing is great. KATSU Knives did send this, so let's just go ahead and assume, for all transparency, that this is probably the best one that was ever made, but I've not seen a bad KATSU yet. I had a version of this that Jared sent me, the ZK01, which was just all titanium, and then the ZDP189 Damascus blade. And I loved it, and I liked it so much that I bought one of the more budget versions, the $89 version in 154 cm. So just to give you a heads up on that. These things are great. They're done in these beautiful display boxes. And the reason the box is still out here is because this is in here. So we're going to talk about some comparisons with Rockstead on this, because this is done at the same Rockwell. So 901 Vickers is 67 Rockwell on that ZDP189. So we can go ahead and get this box out of the way. I just thought it'd be cool to show you guys this. And like I said, stay tuned to the end. There's an announcement about something going on with KATSU Knives. So let's just go ahead and look at the knife first. This thing is done beautifully. It's 17 layer ZDP189 core Damascus. So you've basically got a core of ZDP189. It's at 67 Rockwell. You can see that big, thick core, and then it's alternating layers of ZDP189 and 420J variant. It's a variant of 420J. I can't remember what they said. It's SU, S420, something like that. At any rate, it's a 420 variant. It's done in a full convex with just a small secondary bevel. I know a lot of guys don't like that secondary bevel. They want the full convex. I don't care, because when I sharpen this, that's how I'm going to sharpen it. And then I can take care of that going forward. This is listed as the gold camo fat carbon fiber, which is beautiful. It's actually copper, but they call it gold. Looks really, really good. This is one of those fat carbon fiber handles that I dig. Once again, they're beautiful pivot. You've got a titanium lock scale, backspacer, and pocket clip that have been done uniquely. You got this black wash titanium, this copper wash looked backspacer and pocket clip that look really good. It is a front flipper only, and you've got really decent jimping on this. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, I did carry this at work. I haven't done a lot of cutting with this. So I carried it at work. I work nights in a security operations center. So I didn't do a lot of cutting at work, but I did come home today after working a 12-hour shift and cut up a bunch of cardboard. I cut some zip ties, and this thing cuts beautifully with that full convex. In hand, really comfortable. Really, really comfortable. This is not at all a hot spot. It's a very nice pocket clip, in and out of pocket. It's just about the perfect amount of tension. There are no real hiccups on this, even though that's kind of a hard shoulder. You can see where they chamfered that over. Does not catch on pants so far that I've seen. As far as weight, nice and light. It's actually lighter than the full carbon fiber version that I have. And I think that's because this still has steel liners and stuff like that. And then this just takes the entire side and it's all carbon fiber. The titanium lock bar has got a steel lock bar insert and a ceramic detent ball. It's also running on ceramic bearings. Now, the action on this is really, really smooth. I did change out the lubricant when it first showed up before I took it to work with me. All I did, I sprayed some degreaser, some electronics degreaser, cleaned out all of the lubricant, and then replaced it with KPL from the top, and then put some KPL heavy on the detent ball. And it is really, really smooth. It's not quite drop shut yet. I'm sure it will break in. The one that I have here has broken in and gotten even smoother over time. But that 67 Rockwell ZDP189, I'm sure that that's going to take a while to break in and cut that track in a little bit smoother. In and out of pocket, it has been great so far. You've got really good access to the lock bar, and even though the lock bar drops in pretty far, it's just at just under 50%. There's no sharp edge on that. It looks like it would be, but it's not. You don't feel that it's been done really well, even though that stands out there pretty sharp. Now, let's go ahead and talk about like comparing this to a Rockstead. The reason that I say that this is better than a Rockstead, in my opinion, is this is a knife I would use. So a Rockstead, you're looking at about $1,600. And you're not getting much different than this. Yes, it's more polished. Yes, it might be more refined. Yes, it's a different kind of animal. This is very similar to the Higo. It's not a duplicate. It's not a knockoff. It's very different than the Higo. But what you get is the same overall feel in that knife in something that's a quarter of the price. So you're not going to be afraid to use it. Like, I'm going to put this to its paces. I'm going to use it. And it seems like it's going to do really well. Something I wanted to mention, I'm a fan of functional jimping. The jimping on this, not only on here for the flipper, but then to have good jimping there, even though it's pretty flush with the blade there, it definitely is functional, and it really gives you good purchase. So now, I'm not going to say that this knife is perfect because there are a couple things that I wish were a little bit different on it. So, typical of me, we're going to have some negative stuff. It's nothing major. It's mostly me stuff. So let's turn this around. Flip side of the story, flip side of the knife. All right. First things first, this thing bit me, and it's kind of my fault. That blade sits right there, and it's not the fault of the knife. I've got other knives that do that. I'm just going to be careful of it from now on. That's how I cut my finger. I was carrying it forward in my pocket, and I slid my finger in to grab it, and I got my finger down in there, and just the very tip of it got my finger. And I gotta say, it is sharp. So that's not a big deal. There's a lot of knives that are like that, and that just says that they've got a lot of blade shoved in these handles, so you get really good blade to handle ratio. So that's the one. I wish, as much as I like this front flipper design, I wish there was another deployment method. I wish there was like a thumb stud or something on it that would make it a little bit easier. I do like the overall aesthetic. Once it's broke in, it's going to be fine. It's starting to break in as we talk about it. It's getting easier, but as much as I like it, I wish there was another deployment method. I'm not such a big fan of front flippers. Next thing, aesthetically, I wish this was on the inside. I wish this had been cut on the inside. I do understand that chamfering this and having it completely rounded, which is one of the cool things I didn't mention about it, but I'll mention it in the full review. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but it definitely would have made that look cleaner. So that's just one of those things. Next thing, I don't necessarily think I want jimping right there. I don't need it. It's just, it's not functional. If anything, it can kind of turn into a hotspot. It's not bad on this one, but I wish it wasn't there or here. I don't need that jimping there. Just right there would have been fine. Cleaner lines on this. Next thing, while you have superb access to the lock bar, your finger drops in a little bit, you become aware, you become very acutely aware of it. It's not hotspot, but you're acutely aware of how far that is in and how high that is. And it doesn't detract from the comfort, but you're aware of it. And then final thing, just a construction standard thing. I hate T6 screws. I strip T6 screws on something like this. Great. That's fine. I'm not going to take that lock bar insert out ever. But if I want to take this knife and disassemble it, there is a much higher chance that I am going to strip out a T6 screw than I am a T8 or a T9. I think that would have been a better choice to go with. I don't like T6 body screws. There's no reason with the proliferation of larger head body and like larger screws that they could have done it. Other than that, just some little aesthetic things. I kind of wish this was not as good as the blackwash looks. I think it would have looked cooler with a more vibrant color to it. It's kind of subdued, but we'll see how it plays out over time. I may refinish this knife because this one is mine. As far as how I like it today, this first day, or if you're following along for me night, because it's almost midnight now, it's a yup. I love it. I loved the one that Jared sent me. I love this one. It still gets a good bit of pocket time. And I will carry it in a watch pocket. This thing is great. I like the fact that they're giving you a bunch of different options now, because there's different carbon fiber versions. There's like a pink or a rose. There's this one. So yeah, it's absolutely up all day. So guys, let's turn this around. We'll do some final thoughts. I'll give you that big announcement and I'll send you out about your day. There you go, guys. This is an amazing knife. I love it. This is mine. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it through its paces, but here's the big announcement. I am trying to release a knife with KATSU Knives. They have one of my designs that they are talking about doing as both a fixed blade and a folder. So those of you guys that are looking at me and saying, why haven't you made a folder yet? Well, now it's coming. So with that being said, you can get this for 10% off with coupon code crazysharp, all one word, all lowercase. That coupon code also works at Beyond EDC Knives to save you 40%, 10% off at Rosecraft Blades, and 10% off at Fair and Forged Knife Works. You can go down in my description down below. You can check out my sponsors, Coffee Bear and Coffee Tempered Trail. Those have discounts built into them, and they are great companies. I love working with them. I also have got affiliate links down below. If you're going to buy knives, use it as affiliate links. And I have an Amazon store. Take that, pin it to your browser, use it for all of your Amazon shopping, because none of those cost you anything at checkout. I also have got a membership down below where you can get into exclusive content, giveaways, premium sharpening tutorial series, and a private Discord. And I also have built a public Discord down below where it says join the community. That's free. I'm giving it to you. Please use it. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.